Polo number 5. Sounds like mambo number 5. It's not that. Check your time signature. Common time. 4 crotchet beats in every bar. Check your key signature. No sharps, no flats. So it's either C major or A minor. There are some G sharps in here, so maybe there's a modulation. Possibly, just throwing it out there. But I think it's mostly in C major. And there are a couple clues that point to that, like the C drone that starts here and the C chord that finishes the piece. Now, as you can see, we have trilling fingers. That's what I think of, because it's like 1, 3, 1 or 2, 4, 2 against a drone. So we're often holding a finger on a string and then working 2 other fingers or 2 other pitches against that drone. That means that there are a few valid ways to attack this. There are always different valid ways to attack things. Your plan may not be the same as my plan, and that's completely fine. Some things I would suggest are playing just the melody. So going da 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 da. Okay, line that up in your head. Or playing the top line, acceptable strategy. Da da ya da da dum da da. Follow that top line. It's going to mean you get a mixture of drone and melody. Same thing if you play just the bottom line. You get a mixture of drone and melody. If we're not always playing the melody on the top string, then we do have to think a little bit about string crossing in this piece. And it's not so much string crossing as ratio. So although our bow is sitting on A and D, when we have our fingers working the melody on A, we're going to cant slightly towards the A string, and maybe we have a 60-40 kind of ratio going on with our bow, not 50-50 evenly on both strings. Then when the melody shifts to the lower string, our bow is going to go 60-40 towards that lower string. So when you start to play this, I would say play it 50-50, nice tone, good weight on both strings, good connection to the string. But as you become competent and confident, look for the ways in which to support the melody, because this is really musical and lovely if you play it musically. If you just drone back and forth with your bow on 2 strings, it sounds really boring. Okay, don't bother. So I'm going to play this for you slowly, and I'm going to take the strategy of following the melody, which is going to say yun da da dun da da dun da da dun da da, and it just gives you a bit of an intonation check. Things can get a little sketchy in the 3rd line when we're dealing with a lot of sharp 3rd fingers, and in the 4th line when the 2nd finger's moving back and forth a lot. So it's worth just checking that your left hand is performing with dexterity and agility before you start playing the chords. So feel free to play along with me. I am going to play just the melody, so my rhythm will always be tun ta da tun ta da tun ta da tun ta da. And remember, C major, so don't make up any extra sharps, please. Elbow come through so that the fingers drop onto the strings, and you want to have these fingers very, very high on their tips because you're preparing for the eventual drone finger as well. 1, oh, and I'm also going to play separate détaché strokes. I don't need the bowing in right now. I'm just doing an intonation run. 1 and 2 and. Okay, so there's our intonation run. Like I said, you need to watch out carefully for the semitones in the third line and the semitones versus tones in the fourth line. So this is probably a good point to pause this, pick up a pencil, and write your stuff in. Okay. Without the slurs, at a much slower tempo than moderato, but with the chords. Let's play the first chunk and then reevaluate. Starting with fingers close, we've got a semitone across the strings between the E natural and the C natural. And then we've got to get a ringing third finger when we put down the G natural. So my elbow is rolled through really to a D string level so that third finger can drop perpendicular. If I think about having my hand at A string level where the second finger is, my third finger is going to be at flat. So always cant your left elbow towards the lowest string that you're playing, okay, so that you've got plenty of length in your tendons and so that you're not straining across the back of the hand. The arm should always bring the hand into position, and then we drop the fingers on perpendicular to the strings. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the first 2 lines. We're going to do it again. Pay particular attention to the second finger that has to move back to a B natural in the first line. It's in bar 3. Here. Sorry. So my first finger is holding an F natural, C natural. Bring it back. Okay, it's not a new skill, but it's not something we do in absolutely every piece either, so it's worth pointing out, I think. Let's play again the first 2 lines. Maybe we go a fraction faster. Let's keep it separate bows for now. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just noticed that as I was playing that, there's a couple of spots where you have to place a finger on 2 strings. Second bar, when we're playing this. Okay, so make sure that the first finger is hitting both D and A. Release. So for a second we hear the perfect fifth with first finger on both strings. There's also, was that other horrible little bit? Oh yeah, in the second line, third bar, I sometimes forget about that C sharp lasting for the whole bar. And because we've got a tone and a half between the first and second finger, it's a little bit uncomfortable to play. So I try and think of cuddling it up to my third finger, and I really emphasize that semitone to help me get the C sharp right. Cuddle up with the C sharp, and then whisk it back to a G natural. Okay, now here's where we pivot, ready to throw the fourth finger across to the D string. The second finger is staying on A, so that's my pivot finger. I've just played it here. The bow crosses and my finger goes across. 1 and 4, G sharp. phrase begins. Let's play that third and start of the fourth line again. I have a lot of semitones marked in my music because there are plenty of ringing fourth fingers in there that then have a third finger booted up next to them. Try and think of getting your fingernail to touch the finger in front. So when you've placed your fourth finger, get your fingernail to really sandwich into that. Don't leave any space between them. Make the sharp almost a double sharp. It's a lot easier to play in tune. And here we're dealing with a lot of expressive intonation. We're not playing absolute pitch. We're playing to the key signature. So starting on the start of the third line, it's your A, C natural chord, and your elbow is through to support the fourth finger reaching the D string with good posture. Ready, and right behind. Put the 4 right B-side a bit on the A string. Yeah, that's horrible, right? Let's do that a little bit again. 2 and 4 to start. Ready, and snuggle up. 2 and 4 again. G sharp. Snuggle up. Snuggle up. Wonderful. Snuggle up. Snuggle up. Snuggle up. Oh yeah, so every time I'm saying snuggle up, I'm obviously asking your finger to snuggle up to the one that's already on the string. I'm pretty sure you understood that. I could also say semitone, semitone. I'm not sure how useful that is. By all means, mark it in your music, but I'm not sure that it tells your finger what to actually do. So you work out what you want to say to your fingers and then say it. I'm going to play from the start of the third line again. Détaché bow still, focusing on those semitones being really narrow and snuggled up. Ready, and snuggle. Ready, G sharp. Snuggle. 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 Sorry. Alrighty. And again, I lost my placement. I was too busy saying snuggle up and thinking about what notes I was playing. Again, from the start of the third line. Ready, and octave. Okay, now have a look at the next part. I think it's entirely on level 6, right? G and D string together. I don't think you've got any string crossings there. So that's good news for our bow because we swap levels and now we just stay there. And that means all your mental energy can go into your left hand and supporting your left elbow and keeping your fingers perpendicular to the string, because you're not sick of hearing me say that, but obviously it's really important because I keep saying it over and over again. So let's start on the second bar of the fourth line. We're over on the G and D, playing a C to E chord. It looks like we've got a bunch more semitones to worry about, so let's think about that stuff. Ready, and get the first finger across. 2 and 2. Low 1. For some reason, there always seem to be a lot of reading errors in this. I don't know whether it's the combination of quavers hanging under the stave when we're not used to seeing them notated like that. because we have the ledger line sitting above the notes, I think sometimes our brains don't quite pass them properly, which is a bit weird, but that's what happens. So let's go again through that. Just keep it steady and slow, and try to keep your fingers touching the fingerboard just enough to pin the strings, because you don't need to put excess weight. You just need enough weight to drop the string to the fingerboard. You can put more weight in, but you're just going to get really sore through the back of your hand, and I'm not interested in teaching painful habits. So arm in place. Yeah, okay, my arm is well and truly through. Sorry about my habit of wearing black on black. That means you can't get good depth perception. There you go, my arm's well and truly in front of my body. My elbow's hanging out of the front of my violin, and I can see it. When I look down here, I can see my entire arm sitting in front of my violin because I've got short fingers. So you may not need quite the same angle of rotation, but you need enough that your fourth finger can curve and hit the G string without stretching. Second bar of the fourth line, third finger G, first finger D. Ready, play. Obviously, if you need to go back through any of this slowly, please do. I'm going to play it through. I'm still going to keep my tempo gentle, but I'm going to incorporate the bowing in it. And think about the left hand fingers tapping lightly, okay? So obviously you can play along with this. You can play the top or the bottom or the quavers or the drones, whatever floats your boat, or maybe you're ready to play the whole thing now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Enjoy. I'd love to see your videos or hear your recordings if you've worked on it.